Do you know what is the A/B test? Basically, when you log into Facebook, you see one screen. When you log in the same Facebook, you see another screen. Okay? They ask you to do something in your Facebook account. They ask you to do something on the Facebook account. Then they come back with two set of data and say, okay, which one is more effective comparatively to collect more information? Which one is more effective? When they are going to roll out a new feature in Amazon.com, they actually have you stay in the old system, have him stay going to the new system and see which one is more likely to trigger him or you to buy more stuff. Okay? That is called A/B test. Okay? So that is also how you can use to actually gain more insight into what is the set of features you need to implement in your system. Okay? Go ahead.
Would a focus group be another way?
That is a focus group.
Yeah.
Just it's online.
Right.
There are a lot of online focus group. For instance, when you watch YouTube, and after 5 minutes, they will say, okay, do you want to take a survey or you want to skip? Most of us just skip. Okay, because they blast this survey to 10 million people. There are 5,000 poor people who say yes. Okay? When they say yes, it goes to a number of questionnaire, then guess what? Focus group. Right? They blast out 10 million requests, they got 5,000 people reply. Good enough, that's good sample size. Why can they do that? Because they have a sheer size. But that's actually a difference in terms of internet business because they have such a big volume.
Although that does tend to skew the results because it selects all the people with the most patience.
That is definitely true. So they have to adjust all these factors. Then you actually go, so there are a lot of research about how they adjust this kind of thing to make it more reflective. That is actually a fairly deep research discipline. Yeah. How to conduct focus group is not as easy as you think about it. There are a lot of research, actually, economics and psychology and all these things go into how to create that kind of survey. That's why you actually see Google hire a lot of economists and also a lot of psychology people and all these. It's not just software engineering. You have a lot of other people work for the company. All right. So essentially, most fundamental thing for us to know is you have to apply your ability to read document and your ability to talk to people to figure out what are the minimum set of features you need to implement for a given software product. And our project exactly serves that purpose. First, we give you a piece of text to read, and hopefully you'll figure out maybe 60% of what you need to do. Still 40%, not so clear. You interview the project manager and nail down the 100% of features you need to implement. Okay? That is requirement engineering process. We are basically give you a practice to form your own requirement engineering process by reading and interviewing and writing down the requirement. Very simple. You read, understand in your head, formulate questions, ask questions, get answers, and you write down the set of requirements you need to implement. Hopefully, you write in such a way, when you finish writing, I can take your requirement and give to him to implement. And the goal is, he doesn't need to come to you and ask questions.
We're not actually going to do that, right?
We could do that. But that will immediately double or triple the difficulty of your project. Actually, we don't have time to do that because we are compressed. Well, 10 weeks, you couldn't really do much. But in a semester setting for 13 weeks, actually there has been people doing that, and very effective. Okay? That is our goal. All right? Direct observation is always something you can do too. Okay. The last thing I'm going to start but not going to finish is so-called use cases. All right. So what is a use case? So when I'm saying, okay, you need to figure out the minimum set of features you need to implement. But then the question is, how are you going to write down the list of features so you can give to her to implement and she doesn't need to come back to you? Let's agree on a format of exchange so that you guys don't even need to be physically in the same location to exchange information. Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? What have you learned in your computer science class which serves similar purpose? D2L. D2L is an exchange format, for sure. What else do you have in mind? Email. Email is actually, to you, it's, well, seems like application. But actually, when you send an email from your iPad, I got that on my phone, that your email is formatted in such a way it can travel through different machines and then finally got recognized and presented in a readable form to me. Okay, same idea here. We are introduce the concept of use cases so we can exchange information about the requirement for our systems. Okay? So this way, is this the only way to exchange the requirement items? No. No. This is just one way. Okay? This is just one way. You can have many different ways of exchanging requirement information among people. This is not the only way, but it's one way. Okay? So here, we're just going to pick this one way for the term. And this happened to be a popular way in the industry. When you draw this, people will understand. You may say, oh, I hate this. I don't want to do this. Yeah? After my class, you find a better way. But be sure there are enough people in the industry who recognize the same language. Okay? You can create your own language, but I can guarantee you English is still the most popular language here. If you talk in your own creative language, okay, you have to figure out how many people actually can understand that language. Right? So essentially, this is one exchange format for us to pass requirement items around without having to be physically together, or don't have to talk about everything in detail. All right? So let me, how many of you can actually tell without me speaking anything now, understand this figure? What are we talking about here in this figure? If I don't say anything about it.
We're talking about the tellers working on the computer at the bank.
What else? What is the system here? What is the system that we are trying to develop here? What is the system? ATM. We can say it's ATM, but what exactly is the system? It's on there.
System to withdraw money.
Banking software. This box representing the system we are trying to create. Okay, this is exactly the point I made before. We are standing outside of the system, observing the external behavior of this system. We're not looking into the banking software. Is it written in C, C++, Java, Python, what have you? I don't know, right? I'm just seeing there is a piece of software used by teller to serve a customer. How many of you have sort of indirectly or directly used a software like this? Everybody. You have a bank account, you had this interaction with your teller and your banking software already. You can't tell me you don't know this, right? So, okay, this figure is so simple so that we can quickly agree on this is the way we exchange information. Okay, this box is the software system we're trying to develop. Here are the users of the software system. Direct user is teller, indirect user a customer. You're not going, they don't allow you to stand back behind the counter and touch the software system, right? Certainly for ATM, then you are doing away this because this becomes folded into, what is ATM? Automatic teller machine. Basically you fold the functionality of teller into the system, now you've got an ATM. Okay? So here, this figure tells us several things. Number one, the software of interest is banking software. That's the system we are trying to develop. And it also tells you who are the users of the system, customer and teller. And the functionality feature in question here is withdraw money. That's it. No more. This is our feature exchange format. If you draw a feature figure like that, you put up there in a software development company, they will say, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I may not agree with you on this figure's content, but I know what the figure is trying to say. Okay, so this is just like an internet protocol. We can exchange information between developers, between requirement engineers, basically product managers, and developers and designers. Okay? All right. So just a quick recap of what we have talked about today. The key for requirement is for us to figure out what the product needs in terms of software features. How do we find these features? We do interview, basically talking to people, right? We can send survey to our end users, right? We can observe their behavior. We can look at their business forms. Okay? Then our goal is to come to this so that we can exchange this information from product manager point of view with a designer, with a software engineer. Then our software engineering process actually started working because if I have this information, I can already assign tasks to you to design something, for you to implement something. Okay? That's how we scale up to bigger teams. All right? All right. So today we're just going to stop here. And on Thursday, Haifeng is going to talk about the tools we're going to use. IDE is going to talk about Eclipse. It's going to talk about GitHub. It's going to talk about JUnit. Certainly, he's going to spend quite a bit of time talking about his project for you guys. You are supposed to read the document already online here on our website, and also go out and create a list of questions you ask him when he presents the project. You can always follow up with email with him for more detailed questions, but I think as a group, if you interrogate him really well, then you should be able to come to the set of features much quicker. All right? Okay, so that will be it. We'll continue next Tuesday to give you a little bit of the capability you need to work on our project in terms of requirements. All right, so now we are going to our quiz today. Going to D2L. This one is simple. All right, you already got 2 implementation of the basic functionality of linked list. Okay? Here, I would like you to add additional functionality to your class for both implementation around your linked list, real linked list implementation and array-based implementation. Okay? The feature I would like to add here, okay, make it bigger, is to write a method, add a method to your class in Java, which basically rewards the linked list for your linked list, list-based implementation and the array-based implementation. Okay? Questions? Good.
So you want it to actually reverse the list, or can you create a new list that is reversed?
So this is adding to your class, right? So basically, your linked list class now has additional method called reverse. Okay, on top of the method you already got last time. Okay, so you're not creating new linked list. You are basically reverse your current linked list. Certainly, you can have temporary storage for that purpose, but you're not creating a separate list. Okay? And you do this for both implementation. Number one, your list-based implementation, which you allocate the memory every time you have a new element, or you do this for the array-based implementation. You pre-allocate a number of slots. Then you basically reuse these slots as you go. All right? Any volunteer to write this on the whiteboard today? No? Nobody take the challenge? Okay. All right. Any piece of whiteboard? Yeah, you can do that over there too. I'm not going to force you to do it if you don't feel like it, right? It's just that I think it's a good exercise. It's different. It feels very different than writing on a piece of paper or writing on your computer. For those of you who are writing on your computer, now I actually strongly recommend you to write it into IDE and start compiling it to get rid of syntactic errors. And the best would be you're able to test your functionality. I hope you already have the test class, which basically calls the functionality of your linked list, and you are adding the test case first. Okay? Say you can say, okay, something like my class dot reverse. That will be your test case. You can say first that my class, my linked list class create a linked list. Then my linked list class dot reverse, then print out the linked list. That will be your test case. Then you implement the reverse functionality. That's typical test-driven development.